here again with another lesson to teach the gospel of the kingdom to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which makes up the biblical Hebrew Israelites. With that being said, before we start off this lesson, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops, a great millstone that rule well, that teach well, while learning this truth 100% according to the Bible. I also want to say shalom to you Akim out there on the four winds of the earth that is pushing this truth and sincerity, and also to you Akwaf, which are you sisters that is listening in silence. Shalom. And in today's lesson is going to be the same thing week in and week out that we come out here to do through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, which is to prophesy the downfall of America, Babylon the Great, right? And we see everything that's ultimately occurring in the world is pushing us closer and closer to that time actually taking place. Right, we're in that season of when things is about to get real spooky out here for the people in this world, man. Mainly for the people here in America, man. Because we're coming into a time called Jacob's trouble that most people don't understand the time in which it is that we're living in, where all of these different events are about to start transpiring in this place, America, man. You got Esau, Edom getting ready with a lot of different things in which it is that he's doing that I'm going to go into, Lord's will, right? But before I start off, I'm going to go to Jeremiah chapter 28, right? Verse 8, just talking about the things in which it is that the men of the Lord is going to be warning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans about in this time that we're coming into. We're supposed to warn you about these evils that are ultimately about to take place, right? As the Lord said in Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17, you know, son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, a people before is a place. Therefore, hear the word in my mouth and give them warning from me. That's what we're supposed to do as watchmen of the Lord. Give you the warning and blow the trumpet and let you know that these things are about to come, man. And we're coming into that time where we're not going to be blowing this trumpet too much longer, man. That the Lord is getting ready to take away this grace period, this mercy that we ultimately have, and he's about to get ready to start bringing forth a lot of judgment, man, and a lot of evils, man, right? So this is Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil, right, meaning bad, and the pestilences, man. And these are the same thing that the men of the Lord now are doing, because we know that, as it tells you in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, that there is no new thing done under the sun. So the same thing that the men of old were doing, those are the same men that are coming back through the reincarnation in these times now that we're living in, doing the same thing that they did in ancient times, which is prophesying, telling you about the times in which it is that we're about to ultimately step into. And we're getting ready to come into the time of Jacob's trouble, man. And I'm going to actually go to an article that I got that I can actually prove that, man, that, you know, Esau is getting ready to come down amongst you Israelites, man, very severely, man. And this is what the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles and elders of great millstone, and the men on down teaching the same doctrine what we've been warning you people about, that these times are about to really start taking place, man. You know, these evils are about to start ramping up out here, right? So I'm going to get to this article that I have. Bear with me, right? And it says, for some migrants in the U.S., Florida's alligator Alcatraz awaits. So here it is. You got Esau, Edom, basically, you know, putting in this new order for this prison, man, which is called Alligator Alcatraz, which is out there in Florida. You know, I did a video on it yesterday where you basically got the Esau, Edom. You know, he's basically building all of these migrant camps, which somewhat look like FEMA camps. And ironically, they're actually being funded by FEMA. So we're coming into a time where Esau, Edom is about to truly show those horns that he has for you Israelites, man. These are the times that we're coming into, right? As it tells you in Revelation chapter 12, right? And I'm going to read verse 12, right? And it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, right, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man of the day, is come down unto you having great wrath, right? Because he knoweth that he had but a short time, and that's what this man knows. So he's ultimately putting a lot of things into place so he can ultimately come down upon you Israelites severely. Mainly the 2/3 of our people, but we know also there's going to be a few men of the Lord that is also going to get caught up in these things, you know, being thrown in prison camps and things of that nature. And that's all going into the time of Jacob's trouble, man, when these things are about to start transpiring. And we're coming closer and closer to that time, man. Right? Which is going to be a time like never before. As it tells you in St. Matthew 24 and 21, you know, it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. So we're coming into a time like never before, man, and you're ultimately going to have to need that protection from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, and ultimately to make it through these troublesome times, man. You know, as it tells you in Isaiah 33 and 6, and wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures, right, having the true doctrine, having a name, having all of these things shall be the stability of thy times. What times? The times that we're about to come into, man. That is about to be chaotic, man, and about to be real wicked out here, man. So I'm going to actually go to that, right, through the Spirit. Because these are the times that are coming, brothers and sisters, and that's why it's important for us as believers to be preparing ourselves spiritually for these times in which we know are at hand, man. These things are coming quickly, man. This won't happen 1,000 years from now, 20 years from now. You know, Jake and Eve are comfortable in this place, man. You know, they don't believe that these bad times are ever going to come amongst them, man. They trust their enemy Esau, the so-called white man, man. But they don't know, as it says in the scriptures, in Sirach chapter 12, verse 10, to never trust thine enemy, man. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, man. So we know as iron gets more worse, the worse it becomes, right? The more it rusts, I should say. And that's the same thing with this man's characteristic and his personality. The more we get closer and closer to this devil ultimately being thrown out of power by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the more he's about to show how evil he really is, man. You know, as it tells you in Ezekiel chapter 21, and I'm going to go to that, then I'll get back to Jeremiah, right? Because that devil's sharpening that sword, man. Preparing it for you Israelites, man. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man, that are in this place, America, right? This is Ezekiel chapter 21, verse 9. And it says, son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened, right? And that's also can be going into the nuclear missiles as well. But in this context, it's talking about Esau, Edom, man, whose blessing was the sword, right? As it tells you in Genesis 27 and 40, that was his gift that his father Isaac has given him, right? So he's perfected that sword, man. That's why you got this devil doing all types of things in which it is he's doing, you know, making AI drones, making AI robots with fire, flamethrowers and things of that nature under him, man. Why you think he's doing all of these things? He's perfecting that sword because he knows soon to come that he's going to unleash a lot of these things upon you Israelites, mainly upon you wicked Israelites, man, you 2/3. These are the times in which it is that we're about to come into, man, right? And it says, son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished, right? Verse 10, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. We know also this can go into those nuclear missiles as well. But in this case, you know, because you can use it in two ways or two meanings, right? It's a double entendre scripture. So we know it has multiple meanings. But in this context, it's talking about, and the way I'm referring it to, I should say, it's talking about Esau, Edom, man, preparing that sword, man, sharpening it, putting all of these unrighteous decrees and private prisons and making deals with El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay and building alligator prisons in Florida Everglades. I mean, all of this stuff is this man sharpening that sword, man, getting it prepared for you Israelites, man, right? And it says, should we then make mirth, right? Because you still got a lot of our people in that spirit of mirth, man. You know, having fun, wanting to, you know, kumbaya and parland and kick it and just play around like things are not going to happen. That, oh, man, that'll never take place. You know, we just continue to be in the spirit of having fun, you know, being in that folly spirit, man. But a lot of these people don't know that. That's when all of these things are going to come upon them, man. You know, as it tells you in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, you know, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's how this judgment is going to come upon a lot of you Israelites and a lot of you other heathens, man. Because you people ultimately are not watching, mainly our people, man. You have no idea what time period in which it is that we're living in, man. In the season, man. Right? And it says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter, right? It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. Verse 11. And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it unto the hand of the slayer. And who is that slayer, man? That's talking about Esau, Edom, man. The so-called white man, right? The devil, man, in physical form. That's about to unleash his horns upon you Israelites, man, and everybody else in this place, America. Because we know it's called Jacob trouble for a reason, because he's mainly going to be coming after you 12 tribes. But he's also coming after you other heathens as well. So nobody is really going to be safe from Esau's wrath that he's about to bring down, other than the Lord's elect. You know, Yahweh Ratazah, we ultimately be at that number, of course, that the Lord has mercy upon us. But those are going to be the only ones that are going to be safe in these times that are about to come into, man. And I'm going to actually go to that, right? I'm going to go to Jeremiah. Bear with me. Chapter 30. And I'm going to start at verse 4, right? And it says, and these are the words that the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah, right? That's talking about both northern and southern kingdom, man, right? That's talking about all 12 tribes, man. Because that's who Esau is coming down amongst, man. All 12 tribes of Israel, not just the northern kingdom, not just so-called blacks. He's coming after everybody, man. Anybody that's not him or his people, you know, he's going to be coming after his own people as well, man, because we know this man doesn't care about anybody. As it tells you in the book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 5, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? So, I mean, this man ain't coming shaking hands with anybody, man. This man is coming for blood and vengeance, man, because that's ultimately what's in his heart, and that's the spirit that Yahweh Shem Yahushua have given this devil, man. As it tells you in Revelation 6 and 4, and I'm going to go to that precept and jump back in the spirit, right? Because this is what the Lord have given this man the power to do, man, and this is ultimately why he was created, to be the wicked, you know? Mainly among you Israelites, man, to be a whooping stick on the left-hand side of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, right, representing Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And power was given to him, right, by the Heavenly Father, man. Because as it tells you in the book of Daniel chapter 2, verse 20 on down, it says how the Lord sets up kings, which are these leaders that are in power, man. The Lord set up Esau and put him in position, man, right? And it says to take peace from the earth, right? And that they should delete one another, and that was given unto him a great sword, which is his blessing that he's getting ready to come down upon you Israelites with, man. That sword, that wrath, you know, AI robots, you know, drones and super soldiers and all type of other different things that this man is going to come out the woodworks with, man. We know that he's about to unleash all of his weaponry amongst you Israelites, man, because as it tells you in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. This man knows that he has only a short period of time to rule this earth in wickedness, man. He knows that his power is coming to an end. So he's about to go out with a bang, man. And that's why he's about to, you know, come down amongst you Israelites so heavy, man, because he know that he got a short time to rule the earth. He know that he's not about to be in power for too much longer. He know the Lord is about to return, man. So he got to do everything he can, and he got to do it quick, man, right? So this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 4. And it said, and these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Verse 5, for thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace, man. And those are the times in which it is that we're fastly stepping into, man. Because a lot of our people, you know, they tend to think that it's going to get better for this place, America. Because, you know, they ultimately believing in the ideologies and the words that which it is this man Donald Trump is ultimately giving them and feeding them with, man. Telling them that he's going to make America great again. That's why you got the Northern Kingdom was majority of the people that voted for Trump. Now look at it. He coming down upon you with great wrath, man. He coming down upon you with the deportation, throwing you off and casting you to different countries that are not even your land where you come from, right? This devil's doing all types of things to you Israelites, man. And we know he started with the Northern Kingdom now, but it's soon about to trickle down to you so-called black people as well, man. This man is about to show his horns towards all you people. And you're going to see that the men of the Lord was ultimately warning you of these things the whole time, man. That this man was not your friend and that he was not to be trusted. But hey, our people simple, man. They got to learn the hard way, man. Because they ultimately don't want to listen to the men of the Lord. They Yahweh Shem Yahushua set up to prophesy and to warn them. They rather listen unto their own ways, man, and do things in which it is that they see fit. But as it tells you in Proverbs 15:10, action is grievous unto him or her that forsaketh the way. And he that hateth reproof shall die, man. So a lot of our people, they're going to find themselves in some very tragic situations just for them being disobedient, man. Ultimately not taking correction, not listening, man. Right? So I'm going to get back to this. This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 5. I'm going to read it again. It said, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace, man. Right? Because that's how bad it's going to get out here, man. That people is really going to be out here fearful, man. What it tells you in 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 18, it said, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, man. Right? And their houses shall be destroyed. Roughly paraphrasing it, man. But that's why a lot of these different types of evils is ultimately going to come upon you Israelites, man. Right? For being in that spirit of pride, man. You know, as it tells you in 2nd Ezra 8 and 50 as well, that for many great misery shall be done unto them that in the latter times should dwell in the world because they have walked in great pride, man. So that pride is what's going to lead a lot of you Israelites in these concentration camps, leading you these bad situations that are about to happen in the near future, man. It's going to be due to your own wickedness, man. Right? As it tells you in Proverbs 16 and 18 as well. Pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. And 2/3 of our people in this place, America, they're very proud, man. They think highly of themselves. They don't believe this place, America, is going to go down. They don't believe that Esau is going to come after them with a sword, right? With judgment, with destruction. They don't believe these things, man. They don't believe that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately going to bring judgment upon this earth, man. They don't think these things are ever going to take place. That's why they continue to be wicked. That's why they continue to walk around here doing the things in which it is that they're doing, man. Right? But soon to come, all of that stuff is about to come to an end, man. That mirth spirit, having fun, being in the spirit of folly, not taking anything serious, all of that is about to turn around very quickly, man. You know, when the Lord started really bringing forth these judgments and these evils, man. Right? Because they're about to start happening, man. You know, we're in that time now where anything is bound to happen. Here it is in the news. I've been watching these news articles for the last, they've been talking about it mainly for about a week or two, right? But you've been hearing them talking more and more about these sleeper cells, man, mainly here in the U.S. And that's what the government been talking about. And we know, as it tells us in 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? Meaning his schemes, his tricks, his plots, his tactics, man. Right? But you've been hearing them talking a lot about these sleeper cells being so-called in the U.S., man. And then the brothers Saints of Jersey too, you know, shalom to the brothers out there. They definitely did a video that I watched earlier, man, that I advise you brothers and sisters to watch, where they actually was talking about how they just found an Iranian missile here in the U.S., man. Right? So you got them finding missiles and all types of things. So we know it's only a matter of time before things are about to get worse around here, man. All of the dominoes and cards are in place for this place, America, to go into chaos, man. That's what's coming. And a lot of these people don't realize that, of course, because like I said, they're not watching the times. They're not seeing what it is that's going on in the news. They're not watching for articles and things of that nature and trying to see what's actually happening around the world. These people are just walking around sleep, man. But we know ultimately Yahweh Shem Yahushua has ultimately put that spirit of slumber on these Israelites, man. 2/3 of them, so that they cannot get this truth, man. That's why when this destruction happens, it's going to take these people suddenly. They're not going to be expecting it to happen. That's why I said suddenly the destruction shall happen and they shall perish in the day of the Lord's vengeance, you know, roughly paraphrasing Sirach 5:7, man. But that's how it's going to be, man. You know, people are going to be having fun, comfortable, living life up like it's good and not taking heed to anything, right? And these judgments are going to start coming, man. That's why it tells you in Proverbs 22:3 that a prudent man, right, meaning a man of wisdom, foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, man. Right? Hide himself under the confines of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, getting closer and closer to the Lord, knowing that ultimately these evils are about to be made manifest, man. But the simple, right, which are 2/3 of our people, and these other damn devils and heathens, pass on and are punished, man. And that's what's going to come upon these people, man. That very soon these people are about to be punished, man, for being simple and not taking heed to these warnings, mainly our people, right? But I'm going to get back to this. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6. It said, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail? And all faces are turned into paleness, man. See? Because that's how bad it's going to be out here, man. That people is not going to know what to do in these times. And we know ultimately if the men are going to be holding on to their loins like a woman in travail, all scared and full of anxiety and not knowing what to do, how much more you weaker vessels, man? Which are you women out here that say you can do it by yourself and you proud and bad and you don't need a man and all of this different type of madness. But we know, as it says from the scriptures, that a man shall be a covering from the wind and the tempest, man. Basically meaning, you know, in the times to come, and that, I'm actually get that, right? Bear with me. That's Isaiah. Wait, Salakia. Right, is it 32? Right, this is Isaiah chapter 32. And I'm going to start at verse 2, because these are the times in which it is that we're coming in, man. You know, you women out there are not going to be protected when these times of evil actually start taking place, man. Only women that are going to be protected are the hopeful elect ladies, man. That Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately going to lead to the Israelite elect man. In these times of danger, they're going to be protected, man. But for the rest of you rebellious women and 2/3 men and all of you other different people, you people are going to be asked out when all of this stuff begins to happen, man. You people are going to be in misery, man. In a state of turmoil, not knowing what to do, man. And that ultimately goes back to you denying Yahweh Shem Yahushua and not ultimately taking heed to these warnings and these messages that the men of the Lord have been giving you, man. Right? It says, and a man, right, a Hebrew Israelite elect man, right, shall be as a hiding place from the wind, right? That wind is talking about during the time of Jacob's trouble, man. When all hell begins to break loose. When there's lights out and blackouts and, you know, no food on these shelves and all other chaos happening in the midst of these streets, man. When people just bugging out and losing their mind, you know, due to everything in this society collapsing, man. Right? Hebrew Israelite elect man is going to be a refuge, a place of comfort in that time, man. Right? Lord's will we be of the elect. Right? And it says, as rivers of waters in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So the only way you're going to be protected for you sisters out there, you know, mainly we know the Israelite elect lady is going to be protected, of course, first and foremost, because the Lord is going to have that protection amongst her. But for you 2/3 of our women, man, it's going to be ugly for you in these times, man. You know, it's going to be very tragic, man. And those are the times in which it is that we're ultimately coming into, man. But I'm going to get back to Jeremiah chapter 30, right? Verse 7. It said, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And who is that is talking about shall be saved out of it? That's talking about none other than the elect man of the nation of Israel. Lord's will we be at that number, that 1/3 remnant, as he tells you about in Zechariah 13:8, or Zechariah 13:9. I'm actually get that where the Lord said he's going to bring them through the fire. That's talking about bringing them through all of this tribulation and hell and things of that nature that is ultimately about to come, man. Right? And I'm actually go to that in the spirit, you know, just touching on that, because this is what's coming, man. You know, 2/3 of our people are going to perish in this place, Babylon the Great, man. When the Lord began to ultimately to bring forth all of these evils, man, into this place, right? These people are not going to make it, man. You know, that's why this is not the time now to be being proud, to be thinking highly of yourself, to be doing all type of manners of wickedness. This is the time to be seeking the Lord, man, and to seek him 10 times more. As it tells you in Isaiah 55:6, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, while he is near. Roughly paraphrasing it, man, this is the time for us, myself first and foremost, right? Because we can never seek the Lord enough, man. You know, for you brothers and sisters out there, the hopeful elect, we got to seek the Lord more now than ever, man. Because we want to pray that the Lord have mercy upon us in these times. Because we don't know what lot we possess. We don't know if we are the 2/3, right? We don't know if the Lord is pleased with us, man. That's why we constantly repent daily and day out, man. You know, praying that the Lord ultimately does has mercy upon us, man. Because as it tell you, our righteousness as filthy rags, you know, roughly paraphrasing it. So we know, man, we're nothing really, man, without Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, and we just pray and hope that the Lord has mercy upon us in these times, man. Because we know how bad it's about to get, man. We see it already, man. Right? And that's what comes with the Holy Spirit, man, having the eye salve, you know, through the Rakah Kodash. The Lord has allowed us to see into the future, man. And we know that this place, America, is not going to be in a stable place for too much longer, man. That this place is about to go up into flames, man. And that's what these people is not prepared for, man, because they're not watching for it. We watching for these things, man, as the Lord have said, to be watching as well as praying. You know, in these times more now than ever, because we're seeing all of the things that are ultimately taking place, you know. But let me get this precept real quick. Bear with me, just touching on 2/3 of our people, man, because they're not going to get it, man. That's why it's not meant for them to get these words. That's why they're going to continue to be wicked. That's why they're going to continue to follow after the ways of darkness. That's why they're going to continue to eat pork, smoke cigarettes, sell weed, do all of these other different type of wicked things in which it is they indulge in, man. Right? They're going to continue to do that ultimately till the Lord destroys them, man. Right? As it tells you in Romans 11:7, man. What then Israel, right, which is a people before us a place, it tells you that in the book of Maccabees, right, have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So this word is only for the Lord's elect. They're going to be the only ones pushing with that spirit of fear upon them to urgently to repent constantly, day in and day out, to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and begging the Lord for mercy, man. Only the elect are going to do those things, not 2/3 of our people. And that's ultimately why they're going to meet their judgment in these times that are coming, right? Bear with me. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, right? That land is talking about here, America, Babylon the Great, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? This is the place where Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to do a great majority of his slaughter, man, right? He's going to be delivering his elect, Lord's will we be at that number, right? From the nuclear destruction that's soon to come. And he's going to ultimately, you know, allow a lot of his people, 2/3 of them, which is the majority of Israel, to, you know, ultimately to be destroyed, man. On this side, we know, as it tells us in Romans 11, that all Israel shall be saved. But on this side, they're going to have to perish, man, because they're wicked. The Lord can't come back and take 2/3 with him, man. The behavior and the mindsets and the spirits that they're coming in. No, they got to be purged, man. So they're going to have to face judgment. They have to be born back in through the loins of the elect, man and lady, man. That's what's going to happen, right? But it said, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, right? Talking about you wicked Israelites, man. But the third, right, meaning the elect, shall be left therein, and I will bring the third part through the fire, right? The Lord is going to bring the elect through all of the hell that's about to come, man. You know, you're going to have certain brothers that are going to be martyrs, as well as a few sisters probably, right? But we know majority of the Lord's elect, he's going to bring through that fire, man. You know? And it says, and even those that do give up their life, they still win. You know, even if we do have to give up our life for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man, we still win. Because we know, as it tells you, and I believe that's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16 on down, it tells you that the dead in Hamashiach shall raise first. So those who give up their life for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, they're going to rise and be beamed up first in the chariot, putting on that immortality, man. Right? And it says, I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined. Right? And will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name and I will hear them. Right? Because we know only way you're going to get through these times is if you had a true name, man. That's why the doctrine is so important, man. You got to be calling on the 100% truth according to the Bible. You have to, you should apply the 100% truth according to the Bible. And that all goes in the doctrine, man. You got to have the true names in the Lashawan Kadash, the Hebrew tongue, the Paleo, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. You're going to have the 100% truth according to the Bible. You're going to have all of these things within you, man, when the Lord returns, right? Because as it tells you in Ecclesiastes 17:10, the elect shall praise his holy name, man. You know, talking about that 1/3 remnant who the Lord is going to bring through this fire. They're going to be praising the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man, right? As it tells you in Proverbs 18:10 as well, that the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and it's safe. And that's what the Lord is going to do for his elect in these times, man. He's going to make sure that they're safe from all of the destruction, all of the chaos, all of the calamities, all of the fear, all of the turmoil, you know, all of the different judgments that's going to be going forth, man. The Lord is going to keep the elect stable, man. Right? And it says, I will say it is my people, and they shall say the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is my power, man. Right? And that's what we ultimately want to receive, brothers and sisters, you know. We want the Lord to have mercy upon us in these times that we're coming into. We don't want to be in the light of the 2/3, man. We don't want to have to face that judgment that we know is coming down from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right? Because we know it's about to be very crucial, man. And I'm going to actually go to that, right? It tells us that in Habakkuk. I'm going to go to chapter 3. Right? And I'm going to read verse 2. It says, O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. Right? And that's what we do, brothers and sisters. We hear these mysteries that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has ultimately allowed us to understand. We hear these prophecies. We see everything that is happening. And we're afraid, man. You know? I know first and foremost for myself and also you other brothers and sisters out there that are sincere, you know, we afraid knowing the things that we know the Lord is about to bring forth, man. Knowing that there's about to be apparitions out here getting busy on people, spirits created for vengeance, man. Tifa wild beasts, man. All of these different things that the Lord is going to pour out for judgment, man. We know that these things are coming and we're afraid, bro. We don't want to ultimately fall into these things, right? So I'm finished reading. It's on the, O Lord, revive, Salakia. It says, O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy, man. And that's what we want the Lord to have upon us, man. Mercy, man. Because we don't know what lot, like I said before, that we're going to fall upon, man. We don't know if we're the Lord's elect, man. We don't know if we're going to endure to the end. We don't really know, man. That's what's so scary about being in this truth, man. Because we don't really know what the Lord has in store for us, man. Right? But that's why we just constantly, considerably, you know, pray, you know, and do those things in which it is that we ultimately can do so that the Lord may have mercy upon us, that he may continue to keep putting his spirit on us to do this work, to be partakers in it, and to hopefully endure all the way to the end, Yahweh about the man, and to make it, and to be beamed up out of this place, man. Because terrible times is getting ready to come to this place, America, man. Like I said, like never before, and it's fastly approaching, man. These won't be, you know, a long period of time before these things actually come. No, these things are coming quickly, man. You know, as it tells you in Habakkuk 2 and 3. It said, for the vision, right, meaning the prophecy, is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come, man. And that's talking about all of these different types of evils that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is ultimately about to pour upon the earth. Mainly this place, Babylon, man. You know, it's coming, man, right? Whether people believe it or not, it's about to happen, man. You know, and you can feel it in the air, man. It's like that song, you know, where you can feel it in the air, man. You can just feel the tension, like you can feel the shift in the spirit, man. you know, where things is just feeling like it's about to get worse. And like the Lord said, it's going to come suddenly, man, when these people not expecting it, man. People going to be going about their life, eating, being wicked, having fun, worrying about the next TikTok dance and all type of other foolishness, man. And guess what? The Lord going to, allow everything to manifest, man. You know, that's why we just pray, Lord's will, when that time does come, that as I read in Habakkuk 3 and 2, that the Lord has mercy upon us, man. Right? And I'm going to actually get into that, right? Bear with me. I'm going to go to the book of, I'm going to read St. Matthew. Well, I'm going to go to the book of Luke. Salakia, bear with me. This is Luke. Chapter 21, right? And I'm going to start at verse... I'm going to start at verse 7, right? And it said, and they asked him, saying, right, these was the disciples which later on became apostles, man, minus Judas Iscariot, right? Telling the Lord basically the signs of the times, you know, as it tells you in St. Matthew 24th chapter that I love to go into. But it's the same, basically the same scripture, just a different way of writing it, right? But it's the same message, you know, that they was basically asking the Lord, what will be the sign of thy coming? What will be happening in the latter days when we know that we're getting close to you making your second return? What will be the events that will be transpiring in the earth? And we're seeing all of these things happening now, man, right? So that's why, as it tells you in Romans 13 and 11, now it is a high time to awake out of sleep, for our salvation is nearer than we believe, man. We know that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is getting ready to return, man. We know that we don't got much time left being in these decrepit bodies, being weighed down by the spirits and things of that nature that vexes us daily with these people that we got to ultimately deal with day in and day out. Like, I mean, man, we know that this stuff is coming to an end, and we know that through the signs in which it is that the Lord has given us, man. Right? We know that the MOTB is not far from being made mandated, man, because we see everything over there building up with World War III. You know, you got everybody getting ready to turn their back and are turning their back on America, right? And Israel, right? You got everything going into fruition the way prophecy said it would. So we know that we're coming to the end of this place, man, and it's only a matter of time, right? That's why we pray to the Lord that we just continue to endure, man, because we know we're at the end, right? And it says, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass, right? Verse 8, and he said, take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and the time draweth near, Salakia, and the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them, right? And that's what the Lord's elect is not going to do, man. The Lord's elect is impossible for them to be deceived. We all know that. So we know the Lord's elect, they will not take heed to these false doctrines, not to these false prophets, not to these other different so-called groups that are coming out here with all of these other different messages that's not the 100% truth, that's not sound doctrine. The elect is not going to flock to none of those things, man. That spirit that is in them, right, which is predestined for them to receive this 100% truth according to the Bible, is going to lead them to the men of the great millstone, who are the only ones teaching 100% truth according to the Bible, the men of great millstone, and also the affiliate brothers that are teaching the same doctrine, right? So it's impossible for the Lord's elect to ultimately be deceived. Those that are going to be deceived in these times are those that are ultimately not of that number, that is not going to be delivered, that's ultimately going to be judged and destroyed. They're going to be deceived by all of these false prophets and all of these false wonders that Esau, Edom is going to do in these latter days with his AI, his technology, and all of these other different types of things, man, right? And we know ultimately the Lord just wants these people to be deceived, man, you know, because the Lord is not dealing with 2/3 of our people. He's going to destroy them, man. So it's they have blinders over their eyes, right? As it tells you in Job 12:16, with him is strength, the deceived and the deceiver are both his, man. So the Lord is controlling the deceived, right, which are the 2/3 of our people with the blinders on their eyes, and he's also controlling the deceiver, these false prophets that is teaching unto them and that's leading them astray. He's controlling all of them, man, right? As it tells you in Sirach chapter 39 and verse 24, it says, as his ways are plain unto the holy, they are a stumbling block unto the wicked, man. So if ultimately you're not of the Lord's elect, he doesn't deem you righteous in his sight, if you're all that wicked, then guess what? You're going to be blinded, man, right? And you're going to be deceived in these times when all of these things begin to take place. You're not going to know what the hell is happening, man, right? And it says, verse 9, but when ye shall hear wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by, right? And that's talking about the wars and rumors of wars, man. And we see those happening right now, and I'm going to actually go to a few articles in which it is that I have, right, just touching on that, because World War III is constantly building up day by day, man. That's why it's important for us, brothers and sisters, to always be watching, man, because when you're not watching, there's so much information that's coming out, man. You know, it be so much information coming out, we can't even keep tabs on all of it at times, because it's just so much that's coming out, right? But that's why it's important for us to be watching in these times and ultimately keeping our mind focused on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. Because, hey, these things are going to happen, man. But we know ultimately before World War III could go nuclear, which we know is going to come, you know, that MOTBC has to be made mandatory first. So that's ultimately the only thing in which it is that we're waiting on to come, man, is that chip. Because once that chip comes, that's going to set everything else off. You know, that's going to really make Jacob's trouble worse than what it is. Because once this dollar collapses, a lot of people are going to go into chaos, man. There's going to be a lot of uproars of the people. That's when the civil wars, the class wars, the gender wars, and all of those other different types of things are going to ultimately take place during this time, right? So that's really what we're waiting on, is that chip, man, which we know is fastly approaching, man. It's only a matter of time, right? But I'm going to get these articles that I got, right, touching on those wars and commotion of wars, right? Because we see that's all in the media, man. It's talks of wars, man, you know. And, hey, that's the spirit that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has on these heathen nations, man. It tells you in Proverbs 21:1 that the king's heart, meaning their mind, is in the hands of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So it's ultimately the one controlling the mindsets of these people, man, and ultimately making them do the things in which it is they're doing. They're not controlling anything on their own. They're not wanting to go to war because they want to. They're going to war because the Lord is putting that spirit in them to go to war, man, right? So this is the article that I have, right? And it says Putin, right, said Russia is starting mass production of a ballistic missile that he wants to duel with U.S.-made defenses, right? So you basically got Vladimir Putin coming out blatantly saying that he wants to increase the production of that Orishnik missile, right, which is a supersonic missile that he wants to, you know, go through America's defense systems that they have. Why is he preparing all this? Because ultimately, like I said, World War III is coming, and the Lord is putting it on the spirit of these nations to prepare for it, man. Right? As it tells you in Ecclesiastes 3, you know, and I'm going to go to that, right, through the spirit. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 3. It's Salakia, verse 1. It said, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, right? And I'm going to go straight to the point. Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And that's the time in which it is that we're ultimately living in, brothers and sisters, where Yahweh Shem Yahushua is putting that spirit of war in the minds of these nations, man, making them ultimately to have enmity or hate towards one another. And all of this is working into the will and the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because as it tells you in Proverbs 19:21, there be many devices, right, in a man's heart. That's why you got Donald Trump talking about peace talks and ceasefires with Iran and Israel and all of that different type of madness. But the Lord said the counsel of the Lord shall stand, right? So no matter what it is that all these nations are basically bragging and parading about and saying what they want to ultimately to achieve and accomplish, what Yahweh Shem Yahushua ultimately says is what's going to stand, man. And what's going to stand is that World War III is going to happen, right? And that America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. And nothing is going to stop that, man. Not a peace proposal, not people trying to join together and form alliances, none of that, man. It's going to stop what the Lord is ultimately about to bring to this place, America, man. And I'm actually get to that, right? This is Revelations chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, man, right? They're talking about World War II. It already took place between, I believe, 1939 to 1945. You know, that's around the time that that war, the duration of it, I should say, the period of time that it occurred. And the third woe, which is talking about World War III, which is a major part of prophecy, as it tells you in Revelations, I believe, chapter 16, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But it talks about the battle of Armageddon, or in the Hebrew mean Armageddon, which is valley of troops or mountain of troops, right? And that's where Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately going to lead all of these nations that we see ultimately that are in conflict now, fighting against one another to go fight in World War III, man. That's what all of these things ultimately leading up towards. That's how we know that ceasefire that Donald Trump is talking about is not going to last, man. That's why as soon as he said something about Israel and Iran coming up with a peace deal, they literally said within like an hour or two after, both of them was back launching missiles at one another. So there is no peace coming. The only thing is coming is destruction, man, and war. And that's ultimately what Yahweh Shem Yahushua ultimately wants to bring, right? And I'm going to go to that, right? Well, let me see. I got to look for that scripture. Bear with me, brothers and sisters. I got to look for that. Is it Zechariah? Zephaniah? Bear with me. Right? Oh, yeah, it is. The water of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8, right? It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, right? That I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, right? And how is Yahweh Shem Yahushua going to gather all of these nations and ultimately to pour out his anger upon them? Through the Third World's War, man. That's what he's going to use this war to do, man, to bring forth judgment upon these heathen nations, right? And I'm actually go to that, right? Joel. This is Joel. And I'm going to go to verse. I'm going to go to chapter 3, verse 2. Right? I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew means Yahweh Shabbat, which is where the Lord is ultimately going to bring all of these heathen nations to bring forth their judgment for what they have done unto his people, man. I had to tell you on down, right? And it says, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, right? So this all goes back into what they have done unto the Lord's people, right? As it tells you in Psalm chapter 83, that they are confederate against thee, right? All of those nations that are ultimately confederate against the Lord's people, he's putting a spirit on all of their minds, right? In this day and time that we're in, to prepare for war, man, right? That's why you're seeing all of them going against one another, man, because the Lord is going to use this World War III as a catalyst to judge these damn heathens and ultimately to take down Esau, Edom, man, the so-called white man, right? So this is verse 9. It said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, right? And that's what you see him doing. Like I just read in that article, you know, you got Vladimir Putin creating missiles that can ultimately go through America's defense systems. Why is he doing that? Because the Lord is putting a spirit on that man to do that, man. Because we know that, as it tells us in Ezekiel chapter 38, that the Lord is going to put the spirit on Og and Magog, right? The prince of Meshach and Tubal, which is Russia today, to ultimately to have an evil thought, man. And that evil thought is going to be Russia leading the charge right along with these other different nations that are going to come in unison, right along with America's allies, Salakia, to burn this place with thermonuclear fire, man, right? That's what's coming, all right? So it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, right? This is verse 10. It said, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong, man, right? And that's what you got happening now. All of these nations that were once upon a time considered weak, now they have military might behind them. Now they have a bear, which is Russia, being that guard or that protector unto them, man. That's why they're able to do all of the things in which it is they're doing now. That's why you got Iran threatening America. And I'm going to actually go to that because I got another link where you had Iran basically come out, I believe, today, if I'm not mistaken, and they threatened the United States. So I'm going to actually go to that. This all goes into the weak saying that they're strong, man, right? And that's also because, as I said earlier, they have Russia that is helping them, man, right? So they have all of the nuclear sciences and all of the other different types of things in which it is that they have accumulated to ultimately to get them the power to do the things in which it is they're about to bring forth. So that's why they're doing the things in which it is they're doing, man, making all of these bold threats and accusations, because they know they have that military power behind them, man. They're not afraid of America. None of these nations are, man. That's how we know we're getting closer to this place ultimately going down, man. How the people are treating this man, you know, that's proving that Esau, Edom is coming closer and closer to the end of his rulership, man. And he knows that, and that's ultimately why you're about to see him come down with that great wrath. And what's going to go into the time of Jacob's trouble and everything else that's ultimately about to take place, right? So it says, right, this is the article, right? It said Iran threatens to attack more U.S. military bases. And right, this was 2 hours ago from when I had posted it, right? But as of now, I probably think that is it probably maybe about 5 to 6 hours old from last time I uploaded it. So you got Iran basically talking about they're going to attack more U.S. military bases. And all this is going to do is going to continue to ramp up everything in which it is that we see already happening. It's going to continue to intensify it and allow it to get worse and worse, right? Ultimately leading up to World War III when those missiles are going to be ultimately shot off, man. Right? That's what everything is ultimately leading up towards, right? So I'm going to finish reading where I was, right? This is Joel chapter 3, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And that's what the Lord is going to do, man. He's going to put the spirit on all of those nations to come down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, man, which is over there what they call today the Middle East, right? That's why you got the Euphrates River ultimately drying up, man, because that's going to be where a lot of those nations, right, Russia and all of those other nations that are going to come together, Turkey, all of them, and they're going to come over that river, man, ultimately to go down there to fight Israel and America, man, right? And it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, right? So that's ultimately what World War III is about, man. The Lord bringing forth judgment upon our enemies, man. The people that have ultimately been responsible for our oppression, for our destruction, and for our demise, for the way that our people are in, the state of their minds, right, and their spirits. That all goes back to these heathen nations, man. And I'm going to actually get that, right? Psalm chapter 83. Because that's ultimately what we see them being judged for. This is Psalm chapter 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The hidden ones is talking about the Israelites, man, which are the Lord's people, right? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, right? Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. That's what they tried to do, you know, taking our personality, our nationality, you know, and all of these things we know goes back to the curses, but Esau, Edom overdid everything, man. He tried to make sure that we wasn't going to find out who we were. That's why I love to bring up this story, this account where the apostles said they were teaching, you know, in New York. Not too sure where the location was, Salakia, but how they basically seen a guy come out of the car. He could have been a rich Edomite, an elite. They said that he told the apostles that we have spent billions of dollars to try to hide this information away from you people. Right? So they have did everything in their power, man, spending millions and trillions of dollars to make sure that we don't know that we're the Israelites, man. That's what these devils have done, man. Taking away our true nationality, taking away our tongue, our original language, all of these different things, man. They have tried to spend a lot of money to make sure we will never find those things. But they didn't know that all of that was a part of prophecy, man. And as it tells you in Ezekiel chapter 37, that the Lord was going to breathe that life back into us, man. And those two, they were going to stand upon their feet. You know, roughly paraphrasing, talking about both northern and southern kingdom of the Israelites, man, right? And it says, verse 5, they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, right? The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, right? Of Moab and of the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, right? Which are those little hats over there in the land now pretending to be the Lord people, right? Who are about to get bombed to oblivion, right? Those Amalekites, right? The little hats. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tari, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, right? So all of those nations in which it is that I ultimately just named, right? Those are the same nations in which it is that we ultimately see preparing to fight in World War III. Moab, which are the so-called Chinese, Edom, which are the so-called white people, the Europeans. All of these different nations, man, are preparing to go to war right now, right? And that's what the Lord is ultimately putting on their spirit. And the reason why is because of the scriptures I just read, because of them being confederate against the Lord people, doing everything in their power to try to keep us down and oppress us, man. They're going to have to pay for all of that. As it tells you in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, how Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not mocked. For whatsoever a man or woman soweth, that shall they also reap. And all of these nations, the wickedness that they have been doing ultimately to the Lord's people, they're about to reap that, man. And via the third world's water, it's about to happen, right? So I'm going to get back to where I left off at in St. Luke, right? Bear with me. Chapter 21. And I'm at verse... I'm going to read verse 10. It said, then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation. Right? And that's what's about to come very soon, man, out here in these streets of Babylon the Great, that these people are not prepared for, you know? Because they ultimately don't believe that a lot of these things are going to take place. But they're going to happen, man. You know, that's going into the race wars, the class wars, the gender wars, the civil wars, the time of Jacob's trouble, utter chaos, people out here bugging out and losing their mind. People, you know, just doing all type of manner of evil towards one another. Because that's also prophecy. It tells you that in St. Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Which that word cold in the Greek goes to psychos, or being crazy, out of your mind, bugged out. Which is what a lot of these people already are out here. So how much more when there's no food, when there's no water, when there's no resources, when there's no internet, and all of the necessities that these people are in reach of having now. When all of that is taken away, you're going to see the true behavior of these people come out, man. And that's why it's going to be so chaotic out here, man. And I'm going to actually go to that, right? Through the Spirit, I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras 15. Bear with me. Salaki. This 2nd Esdras chapter 15. And I can go straight to the point, but I'm going to start at verse 1. You know, I'm going to start at verse 1. It said, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And that's what the men of the Lord are doing, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and the brothers teaching the same doctrine. We're speaking unto you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, telling you of the prophecies that are to come, right? And that word prophecy means to tell you of something before it actually happens, to say before. And that's what we're doing. We're telling you that all of these different evils are coming your way in the near future, unless you repent and turn back to the Lord, that you're going to go through all of these things that are coming, right? And be judged, right? So it says, 2nd Esdras 15:2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. And these words are very faithful and true, man. We see everything in which it is that the Lord Yahushua have given us through the tokens that he left us in the scriptures. And we see all of these things happening now in real time. All of the things in which it is he said was going to be occurring in the latter days leading up to his second return. We're seeing a lot of these things happening now. Like I said, now we're just waiting on the MOTPC hit, which we know is coming quickly as well. But a lot of prophecies are happening right now here in real time. So these words are very faithful and true, man. And all of them are going to be fulfilled, right? As it tells you in this scripture, I'm going to get to that. This is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11 in the KJV. And it says, so shall my word, right, be that goeth forth out of my mouth. Who is the Lord's mouthpiece? The prophets. As it tells you in Amos 3:7, how surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets, which are the same men, starting with the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, that are out here, and the brothers teaching the same doctrine, of course, that are out here prophesying and telling you people of what's to come, right? So it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, meaning empty, because all of these words in which it is that the Lord is speaking through his prophets, they're going to happen, man, right? Whether you people believe it or not. As it tells you in Romans chapter 3, verse 3, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh Shem Yahushua without effect? Meaning that all of these prophecies are going to happen, man. No matter if Jake doesn't want to believe them, take heed to them, believe in them, you know, whatever they do, scoffing, coming up against it. Oh, that'll never happen now. I don't believe in that. All right, we're going to see, man, because all of these things are going to happen, man. And you people are going to be right in the midst of it, right? And it says, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it, man. So all of these things are going to take place, man, you know. And I'm going to actually go to this precept as well, this spirit that is popping up. 2nd Ezra 15:3. It said, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. And that's what we got to ultimately be in the spirit of, brothers and sisters. You know, because we know these people are going to come up against us, man. The Lord said in John chapter 15, verse 20, that the servant is not greater than his Lord. They persecuted the Lord, so we know they're going to persecute us. They're already doing it now through the internet, but soon to come, physically, they're going to be persecuting and trying to do harm to us. But the Lord said we cannot fear the imaginations that these people ultimately have against us, man. Because we know what the prophecies say, and we know we're going to win at the end. Lord's will, we be of the elect, man, and we endure. We know we're going to receive the rewards. These people are going to die, man. So we're not really worried about what it is that these 2/3 and heathen scoffers and people are talking about, man, right? Because as it says on down, this is verse 4. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So that's really the point of it. That's why we're not supposed to allow what these people ultimately say or try to do to us to affect us or to throw us off of our game or to allow our faith to be moved or shaken. Because we know that these words are faithful and true, man. And we know that they're going to come to life regardless, man. Right? So this is 2nd Ezra 15:5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, right? And we already seeing the beginning of those plagues happen already at a small scale, but they're going to continue to intensify and get worse as time progresses, as it tells you in 2nd Ezra 14:16. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen done shall be done hereafter. Verse 17 says, for look how much the world shall be wicked through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. So the more we get closer and closer to Esau coming out of power and this system going down more and more as the time goes on, the more you're going to see bad times happening in this earth, mainly in this place, America. Because that's what evils mean. It goes into bad times, man, which is what the Lord is about to bring upon this place. A lot of bad times, man, upon you Babylonians, right? You 2/3 and you other heathen nations, man, right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'm going to read verse 5 again. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, right? And these are going to be a few of those plagues in which it is he's going to bring. It said the sword, right, which goes into the time of Jacob's trouble. Everybody, you know, fighting against one another and things of that nature, complete and utter chaos out here in the streets of Babylon the Great, right? People being divided, at odds with one another, at variance, all of those different types of things that are going to happen. That's what the Lord is bringing. He tells us that in St. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. You know, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword, right? Representing people being at odds with one another. People hating one another, people not, you know, respecting any another or one thing or things of that nature, you know. Got a little tongue tied right there, but you brothers and sisters know what I'm saying. Basically dividing people, setting them array against one another, right? Putting them at odds with one another, right? And this is verse 5. It said famine, right? Death and destruction, right? And this is the reason why Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately going to bring forth those judgments, right? Verse 6, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled, therefore saith the Lord, right? So ultimately, due to all of the wickedness in which it is that we ultimately see occurring in this earth, that's why the Lord is going to bring forth all of these judgments, man, due to the wickedness of the people, mainly of his people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, 2/3 of you, man, because you people love to commit wickedness, man. You commit sin like it's going out of style, man, and when the men of the Lord tell you to repent and to get right, you people don't want to hear it. So guess what? You people are going to have to face all of these different types of plagues that the Lord is about to pour out due to your wickedness, man. This is verse 8. It said, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, right? Because as it tells you in Jeremiah 4:22, and I'm actually getting that, because our people love wickedness, man. They love darkness rather than light, right? A lot of you jakes out there, that's why 2/3 are going to perish. And when you look at that, 2/3 is a large amount of people compared to the 1/3 that the Lord is going to deliver, man. But he's going to do these things because the 2/3 of our people ultimately love darkness, man. They love evil. They love to be corrupt and wicked, man. You know, so that's why the Lord is ultimately going to use all of these different forms of judgment to put them down in these times, man. Right? This Jeremiah 4:22. It said, for my people, right, is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, meaning being stupid, man. Jake is very, foolish out here, man. And it says, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, right? To do things in which it is that goes against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. Our people are wise to do that, right? But to do good, as it says, they have no knowledge. To repent, to turn back to Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, sorrowful and remorseful for your own thoughts, sins, and doings. They don't want to do those things. That's too hard to the average Negro, Latino, Native American man and woman. They love being in wickedness, man. They love following after the ways of darkness, fulfilling the lust of the flesh. That's what our people ultimately like to engage into. And guess what? That's going to come with a penalty, man. And it's called judgment, man. And that's what the Lord is getting ready to bring forth upon these people, man, due to their wickedness. Right? So I'm going to finish reading it. And it says, I'm going to read verse 8 from the top. It said, I will hold my tongue no more touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, right? Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, right? Because like I said, our people are wise to do evil. They commit sin like it's a sport, like it's an exercise, like they, and we know ultimately in this place, America, you get rewarded for being evil, man. When you a wicked ass woman, man, you make it high in this place, America. When you're a wicked Jake, you get celebrated. That's what they love to see, man. But as the Lord has said in Isaiah 5:20, woe unto them that call good evil and evil good, that put bitter for sweet and light and sweet for bitter, roughly paraphrasing it. But that's ultimately why the Lord is going to bring forth a lot of judgments upon our people, because they love wickedness, man. They love evil, man. They don't want to repent and turn back to the Lord and do those things in which it is that he requires of them to do, man. Right? They love to be wicked. So these evils are going to have to be brought out, man, these judgments. And it says, behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, man. And that's who the Lord is going to have mercy upon in these latter days that we're coming into. When he does begin to immense and bring forth all of those plagues and these evils upon these people here in this place, Babylon, the great America, he's going to have mercy upon those that are sighing and crying unto him continually. It tells you that in Ezekiel chapter 9, right? I'm going to go to that through the Spirit. All right? This is Ezekiel chapter 9. And I'm gonna start at verse 3, but the point is at verse 4. It says, and the glory of the power of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house, and he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side, right? This is gonna be a death angel, man. And that's what he's about to unleash in these times of judgment. The Lord is about to bring forth death angels, man. And the only ones that he's gonna have pity upon in these times of mercy are of those of his elect, who are going to be, marked with that dawah, which in the Hebrew means to be exempt from judgment. The Lord is going to have mercy upon them, and that's only his elect, man, right? And it said those that are sighing and crying, those that are complaining continually to the Lord by the wickedness that we have to do and deal with day in and day out in this wicked-ass world, that we got to suffer with after the hand of these wicked people, man, right? We're crying to the Lord daily to deliver us from this hell, man. That's why, Lord's will, we be the elect. The Lord has mercy upon us when he actually begins to bring forth these evils, man. Right? And this is verse 4. And the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, which is a people before it's a place, right? And set a mark, right, upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof, right? And that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to put that mark of exemption, right, which means that protection upon his elect, man. And everybody that's ultimately not of that number, the 2/3 of our people and you other heathens here in America, you're going to be dealt with, man, by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And it tells you that on down, right? This is verse 5. And to the others he said, right, the Lord is talking to the death angels, giving them commandment, right? He said, in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, right? That word smite means to delete, man, to bring forth judgment, to kill, man. And that's what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is about to bring upon these wicked people out here, man, lest they repent and turn back. That's what's coming for them, man. Judgment, hardcore judgment, man, from on high, right? And it says, Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary, right? Because the Lord is going to begin upon his people first. As it tells you in 1 Peter 4 and 17, for judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua first, which begins among his people, those that know they're Israelites. It's a lot of people out here that know they're Israelites, man. 2/3 of our people, they know they're Israelites. But guess what? That doesn't mean they're of the elect. We don't even know if we're of the elect. So we can know we're Israelites all day, but if you're not of the Lord's elect, you're going to die, man. No better way to put it, right? That's what's coming, right? And it says, I'm gonna read verse 6 again from the top, Salakia. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient men which were before the house, right? And that's what's coming, brothers and sisters. You know, the Lord is about to get ready to smite, man, bring forth a lot of judgment upon these people, man. And that's why we're ultimately blowing the trumpet to you Israelites, telling you to repent. But as I said earlier, we know this is only for the Lord's elect, and that they're going to be the only ones that are ultimately going to take heed to these warnings, take heed to everything in which it is that we're ultimately laying out, and to run with it, man. As it tells you to, I'm going to go to that. That's Habakkuk 2. But this is what we're doing. That's the Lord hath required of us. This is Habakkuk. I believe that's chapter 2. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 1. It said, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Right? Verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, right? Meaning the prophecies, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And that's what we're doing. We're making these prophecies plain and clear to you Israelites, man, and telling you what's to come, right? But we know only the elect are going to get it and run with it, man. Everybody else that are going to ignore it. Ultimately, till the Lord brings forth judgment, man, right? And that's what's fastly approaching, man. And we see it already happening on a small scale, but it's only going to continue to intensify. You know, as it tells you in St. Matthew 24 and 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. We're in the beginning of the times of mournings, man, and evil like people have never seen, ultimately manifesting in this place, America, man, and the world, right? But I'm gonna get back to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, right, where I left off at. And I'm gonna go, I was on verse 9. And it said, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. And that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to avenge his elect, man. You know, because like I said earlier, you know, Esau, Edom is going to put a lot of us in the prison camps, man. Some of us are going to be martyrs, man. And it's true. We're going to have to lose our life for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? And also that goes back into also our forefathers that Esau have deleted, man. You know, during the time of the transatlantic slave trade, the North American, the so-called Native American Indians and Latinos that Esau came over here and slain, right? During the time of Christopher Colombo, I believe that was during the time of 1492, right? Or near that time period when he allegedly said he discovered America. But how can you discover a place where people were already at, right? So the Lord is going to avenge all of the blood of his people, man, right? At the hands of these damn devils. And also you 2/3, man. Because you 2/3 are of your father, the devil, as Lord Yahushua said when he was on the scene 2,000 years ago. That's why 2/3 are going to be put down, man. Right? It says, verse 10, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, right? And that Egypt is talking about this place, America, Babylon the Great. This is not talking about ancient Egypt. This is talking about modern Egypt, which is America, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? Verse 11. But I will bring them with the mighty hand and the stretched out arm, right? And smite Egypt with plagues as before. That's like, you know, it's not talking about ancient. That's talking about modern, right? Which is this place, America. And the Lord is about to smite this place with a bunch of plagues, man. With a bunch of evils, with a lot of judgment, right? During the time of Jacob's trouble, during the time of the hour of temptation, during all of these different famines and all of these other different types of judgment tools that the Lord is ultimately going to use to bring forth all of this stuff in these times, man. upon the wicked of his people and you other nations, man. Right? And it says, verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, right? They're talking about you so-called Americans, man. In the near future, when you see all hell breaking loose in this country, America, when you go into your grocery stores and see that they're emptying and nothing is being back stocked up due to everything collapsing and the economy going down more and more than it already is, you people gonna mourn, man. All of you people that got all of your energy and time stored up into this place, America, you trying to build a life for yourself. You want to make it big. You got an American dream, right? Which a lot of people see that has turned into a nightmare. Ain't no such thing as a dream, because in order for you to have a dream, you got to be sleeping, man. And that's what a lot of these people in America are doing. That's why they don't see what's right in front of their faces, man. Because these people are in sleep, you know, in a dead state of mind spiritually. Mainly our people, but you are the damn nations, man. You people are done, man. Right? And it says, Egypt shall mourn, right? And the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall bring upon it, man. And the ultimately plague that's going to delete everything is those nuclear missiles, man, right along with the laser beams of the chariots. But before ultimately that judgment come forth, the Lord is already going to be allowing many more things to be plaguing and coming upon this place, America, as judgment, you know. And this is verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting in hell with the fearful constellation, right? That's going into the food shortages, man, right? You're going to have food shortages happening in these latter days, man. That's a part of prophecy as well. Famines, which a lot of people not being able to eat and all of those different types of things. And that's really where you're going to see a lot of the violence stem from, man. These people not having anything to eat. Because we know these people here in America, man, they're obese. You know, they can't go a day or 2 or 3 fasting and going without putting stuff into their body. They got to constantly have it. They got to constantly consume things in this society. That's what these people have been taught. Everybody in this society, all they want to do is consume everything, especially food, man. That's why you got a fast food restaurant on damn near every corner in these cities, man, and in these ghettos and everywhere else, man. Because Esau is just feeding you people to death, man. Right? And that's why a majority of the people, mainly of our people, they're obese, man. High blood pressure, diabetes. All of that is coming from the food. So we know that these people cannot go without food. Right? That's why soon to come it tells you cannibalism is going to come back, man. That's going to be used as a judgment that the Lord is going to bring upon these wicked Israelites, man. That they're going to have to resort to eating their kids, their children, and everybody else, man, just to stay alive. And like I said a little while ago, you know, that these people are not used to fasting, man. So just these people going a day or 2 without food, they're going to be ready to bug out, man. Right? Because these people are not right in their spirit. They're not right in their mind. And I'm going to actually go to that, right? I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And I'm going to go straight down to 19. Right? And it said, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? But shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, right? Because of the lack of bread, meaning that famine, and for great tribulation. So that's why you're going to see a lot of people becoming more sinister and more wicked, man. You're going to literally have people, you know, vandalizing people's homes, man, running in people's houses, laying you and your whole family down, man, just for a pack of noodles. These are the times in which it is that we're coming into, that people are going to be desperate for these things. That's why it's not smart to prep, man, because a lot of you people that are out here prepping and thinking that you're going to be able to survive the times in which it is that are coming, the Lord ain't dealing with you, man, right? Not saying nothing wrong with, you know, having a little something, but I mean, that is not going to save you in these times we coming into if you ultimately don't have that protection from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. What's prepping going to do? You know, because like I said, your neighbor that know that you're ultimately prepping, allow him and his kids and his wife to be in the house hungry with their lights off and not having anything to eat. But they see you and your family next door, you got food, they've been watching you over the years, stock up stockpiles and thinking that you finna survive what's coming. No, they're coming straight to your house, man, to lay you and your family down and to take all of your resources, man. That's why I said spoil their goods for the lack of bread and for great tribulation, man. These are the times in which it is that we're about to come into, man. And that's why we're going to need Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, is that protection to have mercy upon us, man. Because we know, as the Lord said, he's going to feed his elect. You know, they're going to eat during these troublesome times, man. The elect man and the elect lady and their children, right? They're going to be taken care of in these times. They're going to be comforted while everybody else is mourning and in misery and in chaos and in disarray and in a state of confusion, man. Right? And I'm actually go to that. This Psalm chapter 37, right? King David said that. Verse 25, and it says, I have been young and now I'm yet old. Not seen the righteous forsaken. Salaki, I'm going to read it from the top. It said, I have been young and now I'm old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Right? And that's talking about the elect, man. You're not going to see the elect in these times of, famine and food shortages and all hell breaking loose, and the Lord is not protecting them and comforting them, man, and giving them all of those things in which it is that they need to ultimately be stable. As it tells you, the Lord knows that what we have need of, man. It tells you that in the book of Matthew chapter 6 on down, right? And I'm actually go to that, right? And that's not the spirit that the Lord's elect is going to be in, man. They're not going to be in the spirit of down Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They know that the Lord is going to take care of them in these times because they have that faith and that confidence to believe in these things and to know it. And know that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to deliver these things, right? So they're not going to be panicking when food shortages happen, when the lights go off, when people ain't got money no more and the American system collapses, and when this MOTB ultimately gets made mandatory. No, we're not going to, Lord's will, Yahweh Razah, we're not going to be bugging out, man. We're going to be steady in our minds, man. As I said earlier, that Isaiah 33:6, that wisdom and knowledge is going to keep us stable, man. Knowing the time and season that it is we're living in, knowing that the Lord is the one ultimately bringing these judgments and these plagues. We're going to be stable, man. Right? I'm going to go to that St. Matthew chapter 6. Salakia. Chapter 6, and I'm going to start from verse 25, right? And it said, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Verse 26, behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Right? And that's basically the point of what I wanted to read. That the Lord's elect is not going to be worried about, resources and food and all of these other worldly cares in the time of Jacob's trouble and all hell breaking loose, man. They're going to be solely having their mind focused on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. Right? And that's why the Lord is ultimately going to take care of them in these times, man. He's going to give them all of the needs and the things in which it is that they ultimately need to be stable, man. And I'm actually going to go to another precept touching on that, right? Isaiah chapter 65. Right? I'm going to get straight to the point. Verse 13. It says, therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold my servants shall eat. Right? Talking about the elect and their children, man, and the elect lady. Lord's will we be at that number. The Lord is going to provide for them in these terrible times, man. That's why we got to go into this thing strong, brothers and sisters. We can't go into this time wavering, man. We can't go into this time that we're about to come into doubting Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. No, this is the time like now to be getting closer to the Lord, getting stronger and built up within him, man. Because like I said, we don't know what our lot consists of, man. We might be in a situation where we haven't ate in 2-3 days, man. 4 or 5 days. And the Lord might bring a miracle out of nowhere, man. Might allow an angel to appear and give us food. Any other type of thing that can ultimately happen. The Lord might allow food to appear out of thin air for brothers, man. That's why we got to have faith in this time, because that's what's going to get us through. As it tells you in Ephesians 2:8, it is by faith that ye are saved, and that is not of yourselves. It is the gift of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. So faith is what's going to get the elect through these times that we're coming into, man. Right? And knowing that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately going to provide for them through everything that happens, through the time and the seasons, whatever it is that is occurring, the elect is going to have that faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. As it tells you in 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith and not by sight, man. The elect is not going to be walking off the things that they're seeing happening around them. Oh, there go a lion running through a street. Oh, there go a spirit created for vengeance getting active on a woman over there, man. Or all type of other evils that are going to be happening around them. No. They're going to be focusing on the Lord, man, right? And having that faith in them, knowing that he's going to protect them in these times, man. That's this faith that we're coming into this time with, man, Yahweh Ratazah, that the Lord keeps it upon us, right? But this Isaiah 65:13, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed, right? And when it's saying that ye shall be ashamed, ye shall be thirsty, ye shall be hungry, that's ultimately talking about the 2/3 of Israelites, man, that ultimately didn't take heed to these warnings from the men of the Lord, that despised these teachings of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. When all of this stuff begins to actually take place, when you start seeing the food shortages and all of these stores become empty, people looting everything due to the chaos that's emerging, yeah, you people are going to be very pitiful in that day, man. You know, people are going to be in a pitiful case, man, as it tells you in 2nd Esdras chapter 9, I believe, verse 9, that people are going to be in a pitiful case, man, right? Ultimately, for them not taking heed to these warnings that we're giving them, man, right? These people are going to be in turmoil and misery, man, right? Verse 14, behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And that's what our people are going to be, in that spirit of vexation, man. You know, they're going to be going through all types of different hell, man. Wishing that they would have took heed to these warnings, man. Wishing that they would have repented in time. Wishing that they would have been on the right side of the Lord, instead of taking this grace period for a joke and trying to be in the spirit of mirth and having fun and being a boss B and being a street YN and all of these other different types of things that Jake Mind is focused on, man. They're going to wish in these times that's coming that they would have took heed to the truth, man. Because that's what's going to be important in these days. Not no damn TikTok. Not no Snapchat. Not how much money you got. None of that, man. Right? As it tells you in Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, man. But righteousness deliver from death, man. And that's what's going to deliver the Lord's elect, man. Them being righteous in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Not how much money, not who you are in this world, the materials that you possess. You people about to see that none of that stuff matters, man. Real soon, right? So I'm going to get back to where I left off at 2nd Esdras 15, right? Because these are the times and seasons in which it is we're about to come into, brothers and sisters. It's about to get real chaotic out here, man. Real evil, man. And like I said earlier, we can feel it in the spirit that these things are about to happen. Like I said earlier, you know, going into those sleeper cells that Esau ultimately says that he has that are active here in the United States. They're just ultimately waiting on a go-ahead from these foreign countries that they came from. That could be used as an event to set everything off, right? I mean, this devil can make a FALSEFLAG attack. You know, we got to spell things out because we can't just blatantly say it because he tried to strike the videos. So, you know, this devil can create something out of nothing. And that's ultimately part of his plan, what he wants to do anyway. Ordo ab chaos, man, to create the chaos and ultimately to bring forth the order out of it. And that order that he's going to bring out of that chaos is going to be implementing that MOTB and ultimately implement martial law as well and shutting this place America down as these people know it, right? And I'm going to go to that precept. That's why it's going to be so destructive out here in these times. That's why it's going to be so chaotic, man. And people are going to be bugging out and not knowing what to do, man, because of the times in which it is they're going to see happening in front of them. They would have never thought these things would have happened to America, man, right? Because they think this place cannot be touched, man. And that all comes from pride, man. But as the Lord said in Proverbs 16:5, though hand join in hand, he shall not go unpunished, talking about the people that are proud and full of pride. And that's the main thing that these people here in America, they build themselves up off of pride, man. Mainly our people, 2/3 of them, and you other heathen nations. But as the Lord said in Galatians 6:3, you know, if a man thinketh himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So a lot of you people are about to see real soon that you deceived your damn self, man. When the Lord started bringing forth these judgments and you caught slap in the middle of it, you know. So I'm going to get here, 2nd Esdras 15. And I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And that's what the Lord is about to bring, man. Destruction. That's what that word woe means, right? Verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, meaning it's coming soon, man. You know, this is not going to happen 1,000 years from now. It's not going to happen, you know, when you married and you old and you know, thinking that you done lived your life being wicked and, oh, I'll die and I ain't got to worry about them things happening. I'm not going to be alive when that happens. All right, we're going to see. Because it's happening now right in front of you people's faces, and it's only going to continue to get worse. But as the Lord said in St. Matthew 24:34, verily, verily, I say unto you, that this generation, which is that generation we're in now, that same generation that was back then, that's back now in the reincarnation, shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So you people are going to live to see Jacob's trouble. You people are going to live to see the implementation of the might be. That's what a lot of you people don't realize. A lot of you people don't know that the Lord is ultimately keeping you alive just to judge your ass, man. A lot of you people, man. That's why you haven't, perished yet. That's why you have been through so many situations and ultimately got through it, and you still wicked and haven't turned back. The Lord is preserving you people just to bring forth his judgment upon you, man. And that's a scary thing, man. But a lot of you people are going to fall into the hands of the Lord. As it tells you in Hebrews 10:31, that it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. And a lot of you Israelites and heathens are going to fall into the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua in these times, man. Right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'm going to read verse 15 again. It said, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. That's what's coming, man. Chaos on all sides, man. What it says in the book of Amos chapter 5, verse 19, that's how crazy it's going to be out here, right? And I got to get that, right? I'm going to get straight to the point. Verse this is Amos chapter 5, verse 19. It said, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. That's how chaotic it's going to be out here, man. That's why you won't be able to escape from the judgments. All of you people out here that's thinking that, oh, man, we got guns, we got artillery, we got vests, we got bunkers. That's not going to save you in these times that we're coming into, man, if you don't have that hedge of protection from the Lord, man. You're going to perish, man. And whatever way that you think is going to work for you is going to be used to your destruction, man. Right? A lot of you people that love weapons and love artillery and all of you Edomites, the Lord is going to make sure a lot of you people perish during these race wars, man. In these class wars, a lot of you people are going to fall down to that. The civil wars that's going to happen in America. That's going to be a lot of people's judgment, man, from the Lord. So, like I said again, if you're not of the Lord's elect, man, you're not making it. No better way to put it, no better way to say it. Straightforward. You're not making it, man. And it says, and swords in their hands, right? And that sword goes into the killing instrument, which could be used as anything. But in this case, we know these people here in America, they all love blickies, man, or firearms. So that's what you're going to see the majority of these people ultimately using during these race wars and these race riots and these civil wars and these class wars. These people are going to be using guns, man, right? Which most Americans, it tells you that the average American is in possession of more than 4 to 5 firearms in their household. And that's talking about both so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Edomites, man. So it's going to be a lot of destruction happening, man, when these people ain't got everything it is that they have now. Especially when that internet gets cut off. That's when you really going to see Jake bug out, man. Because these people can't live without internet, man. They value that internet and social media more than life itself. So once that gets taken away from them, these people are going to go bat stuff crazy, man. They're going to bug out, right? And we're waiting for you people to bug out. That's what we ultimately want you to do, because we know when you people bug out, we know ultimately the Lord is getting closer and closer to destroying this place. So we're ready to see you people bug out and lose your damn minds, man. We can't wait for it, right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 16. And we see this happening already on a small scale, but it's going to get worse and worse. Like I said, once these people realize that this American economy, this dream that they believed in was a lie, mainly these Edomites and you other Jakes and Eves as well, right? You people are going to uproar against the government, man, right? And that's what Esau wants you to do, man. Because once you start uprising against the government and thinking you finna fight against them, guess what? Trump already put it on the books 2 months ago, the Insurrection Act of 1807. Why do you think what just happened in Cali, in LA, maybe about 2 weeks ago with those protests when they were sending the National Guard and the United States Marine Corps out there? Y'all think they were just doing that just to do it? No, that was a test run, man, because they about to have all of these military soldiers throughout all these streets of America, man, shutting stuff down, man, and putting people to death, man. That's what's about to come for you people, man. But y'all don't got to believe it. But that's what's coming, man. Tell you. Right? It says, for there should be sedition among men, right? That word sedition goes to people basically fighting up against the government. And like I said, that's what they want you people to do. You people biting off of the cheese of Esau, man. Because this man is a devil, man. He's a carnal man. He wants you people, ultimately you Israelites, to be carnal with him, man. To try to think you're going to fight up against him and uproar against him. And guess what? He's going to bring in those troops, man. which is going to implement martial law, right? Which is already on the books, and it's going to be mandated very soon. That's why we see all of this stuff happening with these protests. And don't think that they went away, man, because trust me, it's going to pop back up soon, man. None of these things that they're doing is just for play. It's all a test run, a demonstration of what they're going to bring in the very, very near future, man. It's all a test, right? And it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. That's talking about the modern police officers, you know, the government. Like, it's going to be some bugged out people out here. They're not going to regard the government, man. They're going to be shooting at them and doing all type of other different things to them, especially these trigger-happy Edomites who feel like this place, America, is all that they have, and now they see it all falling before their eyes. Oh, they're going to bug out, man. That's why it's going to be so intense out here in these times, man. You know, it's going to be so crazy, you know. But we waiting for it, you know. Yahweh the Lord ultimately brings us through it. But we're ready for this stuff to happen, man. We tired of Esau prolonging, man. But we know ultimately that we're on Yahweh Shem Yahushua's time, you know, and that the Lord is going to bring these things in due time, man. You know. But this is verse 16. It says, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, right? And this is what's going to happen, right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? And that's going to do to these 15-minute cities that they're setting up. That's going to do to martial law, the military ultimately barricading and locking down all of these damn cities due to all of the chaos and everything that's happening. So, I mean, you won't be able to move around freely unless you have that digital C-hip, because that's what all of this goes back to. That charagma, man, Revelation 13 to 16. Because during this time, when all hell is breaking loose and stuff is shut down and people can't move around freely, trust me, the only people that are going to be able to move are those that take that implantable device, which ultimately basically give over all their will and power unto this damn devil. You're going to be able to move around, right? A little bit, but it won't be short-lived. It's only going to be short-lived, I should say, Salakia, because the Lord is going to come and destroy you right after you take that chip. So it's not going to be something that you people is going to have and it's going to go well for you all the time. No, man. Because once you take that chip, you automatically condemning yourself to be deleted by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And that's what's going to be the judgment of the people that take that chip, man. You're going to be destroyed by those ICBM missiles, which is going to be that final plague that the Lord is going to pour out upon this place, America, man. Right along with the laser beams of the chariots. That's what people are going to face who take that chip. So a lot of people are going to take that chip thinking it's the best thing to do, thinking that, oh, I'll be able to operate in society and be a part of the world, and I can eat, and I got a little internet, and I, you know, all of that madness, right? And you people are going to die, man, right? So none of that stuff is really going to matter, man, right? Because it's all going to be short-lived. As it tells you right here, I'm going to get that scripture, right? This is Job. That's Job chapter 20, right? And 23, right? Because this is what the Lord is going to do to Esau, man. Right when he's thinking that everything is going good for him, right when he's thinking he got all his 15-minute cities set up and everything is into place and his new world order is succeeding the way he wants it to be, these damn elite devils, guess what? Everything is going to go down, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushua going to be sending those nukes, man, and those laser beams from the chariot to come and melt this place. Right when Esau's thinking he's about to win and everything is going according to his will, or his favor, I should say, you know, because it's Yahweh Shem Yahushua's will. You know, this is Job chapter 20, verse 23. It said, when he is about to fill his belly, right? That's talking about Esau, man. When he implement this might be C-hip, and he's thinking that everybody in the world is going to take it, which we know the Lord's elect is not going to take that device, but a lot of our people and these other heathens here in America are going to take it because they're not going to know what else to do. The Lord is going to put the spirit on them to take it, and that's ultimately for he can destroy them, man, right? It says, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Shem Yahushua shall the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So right along while this man thinking everything is going according to plan, he got his digital system set up. You know, he got people C-hipped out here and paying for stuff with their damn hands and their foreheads. Then the Lord going to bring those missiles, man, those nukes, which is what he's going to rain down on this devil's whole system, man, which is what the Lord is going to use to bring forth his righteous indignation, man. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to that, right? Bear with me. This is, bear with me, Salakia. This is Revelation chapter 13, Verse 16, because this is what everything in which it is that we see ultimately happening is leading up to, man. You know, that's why you hear these devils talking about, oh man, the dollar is weakening. You think these devils don't want the U.S. Currency to deplete and to ultimately to go out of commission? We want it to as well, but these elites ultimately want it because that's all part of them bringing forth this seed here, which Yahweh Shem Yahushua is ultimately controlling them on the left-hand side and allowing them to bring in this chip for his purpose to be fulfilled. But these devils want to bring in that MOTB, man. They want to see hip everybody. They want to feel like they have control and power over you people, man. That's why they're ultimately going to bring it, right? This is Revelation 13 to 16. And he is talking about these elite banking families, man. You know, the ones that are ultimately in control of the banking system. You know, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and you know, all of those other Amalekites, right, in Britain, man. That's thinking they really are running the show, man, on the left-hand side. The Lord has given them that power to do these things. As it tells you, Job 9 to 24, the earth is given over into the hands of the wicked, man. So they're controlling everything as of now on a small scale on the left-hand side. But it's still all going according to Yahweh Shem Yahushua's plan. Because as it tells you in Isaiah 45 and 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, do all these things. So the Lord is controlling both sides, even Esau, Edom. That's what this devil doesn't understand. That's why he's in a trick bag. That's why his new world order is not going to work, man. That's why him thinking he's going to chip everybody, mainly the Lord's elect, who he really wants to come after, it's not going to work, man. Everything that you're going to do, man, to come with, that shit going to fail, man, miserably, right? Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that word mark in the Greek goes into charagma, man. You look at that word charagma, right? It goes into a stamp, right? Or an imprint, right? So this man is basically going to stamp everybody who take that charagma and basically letting his system know that they're aligned with us. Once you take that seed, you basically telling Esau, I'm aligned with your system. I want to be a part of what you got going on. You know, you basically turning your back on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Mainly our people that do take that mark. That's why you're going to be destroyed in that nuclear fire, man. Right? Which is called the second death, man. Right? Revelation 13 and 17. And this is why a lot of people is going to take that mark. Because like I said, you won't be able to, you know, function in society unless you have it. You won't be able to move around from city to city and, you know, crank up cars and go and get gas and there's still any. You won't be able to do none of these things unless you have that charagma, man. And that's why a lot of these people are going to end up taking it, right? It said, and that no man might buy or sell, right? That's what's going to catch a lot of people by their neck, man. Because like I said, these people in this society, they love money. Whether it's a penny or dollar or whatever. These people love money, man, especially you women. And a lot of you women, y'all going to get y'all men to take it, man. A lot of these jakes out here, they're going to take the chip because their women tell them to take it. You know? That's what's really going to happen, man. A lot of these jakes going to take that chip because their female going to put it on them saying, oh, baby, we got to take it. We can't get no food for the kids. We can't do this. You know, so it's going to be a whole lot of reasons to why people are going to take this chip, man. People want to go outside and still be seen, still want to be on social media if they have it, because we don't know if they're going to have it, but they could have it a way to where the only people that can use it are those with the charagma. But still, this is what people is going to do. Reason why they're going to take that chip. Because they're wanting to still operate in society. They want to still be a part of this world. That's why the Lord said in 1 John 2 and 15, to love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If a man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And I'm going to actually go to that. Right? And we're going to come back. This is 1 John chapter 2. I'm going to read verse 16, right? And it says, Salakia. For that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, right? Which is what these people love partaking in, which is what they love ultimately basing their lives around, man. The pride of life, having money, having a car, being seen, being TikTok famous and receiving likes and social media comments and all of this madness, man. That's what these people are in love with, the pride of life. And that's what's going to make them take that chip, man, right? And it says, the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And this is the point, verse 17. And the world, meaning this eon, this age, right, that's currently being ruled by Esau, Edom, passeth away, and is going to pass away by ICBM nuclear destruction, man, right? thermonuclear missiles that's going to hit this place, man. And those missiles, as it tells you on the AI overview, are 100 million times hotter than the degree or the Celsius of the sun, man. So those are some very hot missiles that it is that the Lord ultimately is going to bring upon this place, America, man, to melt this place, right? And those that take that mark, because they're going to be the ones caught up in this judgment, right? And it said, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, abideth forever, man. And that's what we hope to do. Yahweh Ratazah all the way to the end, brothers and sisters, is enduring in this truth, trusting in the Lord, doing those things in which it is that is ultimately pleasing unto him, praying that he does get us through this hour of temptation. Because like I said, we don't know our lives, man. That's why this truth is so scary to be a part of, man. Because I forgot one of the brothers, you know, Lord's will, the brother name come to me, man. One of the Akim, he made a video about that not too long ago that I watched. He said the Lord can have you in the truth always just to judge you, man. And that's scary, man, that the Lord can literally have you in this truth just to judge you, man. Just to punish you, man. You thinking you ain't here about to receive salvation. And the whole time the Lord looking at you like, yeah, I'm going to let you be in the truth. But at the end, you're going to fall out. I'm going to allow you to take that chip, man. And we don't know if that's our life. That's why it's so scary, man. We don't know if we're going to give up our life for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, and this is why we ultimately pray to the Lord to keep his spirit upon us, man, that we be strong when these times do come. Because we want to make it through that hour of temptation, man. You know, there's nothing in this world, brothers and sisters, that is more important than our salvation, man. Not family, not friends, not your wife, not your kids, man. Nothing, man. If it's not this truth, man, it doesn't matter, man. And that needs to be our mindset. Not saying you don't take care of your family and your kids. Not saying that. I'm just saying this is what we care about and put first and foremost before anything else, man. This is our life, man, because this stuff is about to come with life and death real soon, man. And we don't want to be wavering with our relationship with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. We want the Lord to have mercy upon us, man. We want to make it through this stuff, man. Right? As it tells you in Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And we want to be saved from out of this hell, man. Because we just, you know, speaking for all our people, man, even the 2/3. You know, we just suffered a lot in this country, man. And we tired of this damn suffering, man. We're ready for it to be over, man. But we got to keep enduring, you know, because we know it's almost over. That's why every time we see the prophecies fulfilling and happening, we get excited, man. The more we see the Lord speeding up things and more things happening over there between Israel and Iran and that whole Middle East conflict, we get more excited, man, because we know we're getting closer and closer to that day, man. Right? The closer to our deliverance, man. As it tells you in 2 Peter 3:13. Nevertheless, we, right, meaning us hopeful elect brothers and sisters, according to his promise, look for a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. That's what we're ready for, man, because we tired of this damn place, man. This place is over, it's through. The people are finished. The women finished. Everything in this society just polluted and wicked, man. Right? We're ready for the kingdom of heaven, man. And we know the only way we're going to get that on the first go-around is, guess what? We have to be of the Lord's elect. And ultimately, we got to make it through all of these trials and things of that nature that are about to come our way very soon. As it tells you in Acts chapter 14, verse 22. I'm going to go to that. Right? This is Acts chapter 14, verse 22. And it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And when you go into that word tribulation, it has two meanings. One meaning goes into somebody basically trying to convince you or to persuade you to do salakia. That's temptation, salakia. But this word tribulation, it has a meaning of basically going through hell, suffering, going through all type of different afflictions, and going through all type of different other types of, you know, various obstacles that come in your life, man. This is what we're about to go through in these times to come. We're going through it now, day and day, but we're about to experience it on a more higher scale, especially when that MOTB is made mandatory, man. That's going to be the trial of everybody's faith, man. That's why I'm going to go to this precept. That's why it's called the hour of temptation. But we pray and hope that the Lord ultimately keeps us away from that time. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. It said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. This red letter to you, Lord Yahushua speaking, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, man. He said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, right? Who is he talking about? His elect, man. Because they're going to do everything in which it is that the Lord has told them to do, man. Right? They're going to be faithful unto death unto the Lord, if that's some of the brothers like who are of the elect that are going to face death, because they're not going to take the mark, which they're going to ultimately be beheaded. It goes into telling you that in Revelation chapter 20. You know, the one that will be beheaded for Hamashiach, Yahushua, who basically gave up their life because they didn't take that sea hit, man. Right? It says, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, right? Who he's going to keep from that hour of temptation? The elect, man. Which shall come upon all the world, right? Meaning everywhere, man. Not just in America, not just in China, not just in Russia. This coming all over, every state, man. Every country, I should say, Salakia. Everywhere where there's people at, man, that are buying and selling. This system is going to be made mandated. Everywhere, man. Right? And it says to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that's what we got to look at this thing, guys. It's a test, man. And we ultimately want to pass the test. This is that test that you really want to pass, man. Not taking that charagma, man. Because like I said, it's going to come with death. Some of us brothers are going to lose our lives for not ultimately taking that chip. But as it tells you this in Revelation 2 and 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, right? Because we're going to suffer some things. Some of us are going to be martyrs. Some of us are going to be beheaded. Some of us could possibly, we don't know what our lot may be, man. But we don't know what the Lord allows us to go through, man, and what is going to come upon us. But as it tells you in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, it said, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is faithful, who will suffer you not to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape that you're able to bear. So we know the Lord will never put none on us that we ultimately can't deal with. And we got to come into these times knowing that he's not going to put too much on us that we can't ultimately tolerate. Especially if we're doing these things that is pleasing unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the best of our abilities. Lord's will, he has mercy upon us, man. Right? But I'm going to finish reading. It said, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, right? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, this damn serpent, man, shall cast some of you into prison, right? That's talking about us hopeful elect brothers and sisters. Some of us could be possibly thrown into these concentration camps that we see them building up. El Salvador, Guantanamo Bay, Alcatraz. They just made a new Alcatraz that I was talking about earlier that's surrounded by alligators in the Florida Everglades. So, they're setting up these prison camps, man, right? Because we're coming into that time of season where these things are about to manifest, man, right? So it says that ye may be tried, right? Going back into being tested, but we ultimately want to pass these tests that the Lord is going to put us through. We don't want to fail them, man. We don't want to allow the lack of faith or the lack of trusting in the Lord or whatever may try to creep upon us to, deter us from what we know, man, which is what the scriptures have said, right? As I read earlier in 2 Esdras 15 and 2, that all these words are faithful and true. So long as we continue to trust in these words in which it is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have ultimately allowed us to understand and have given us, we're going to be good in these times, man, right? So it says that ye may be tried, right? Mean being tested. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days, which just means a period of time. You could be in there a month. You could be in there 2 weeks. You could be in there a day. And the Lord might send an angel to break you out or whatever the case may be. We don't know. Like I said, we're about to start seeing a lot of miracles happening in these times, especially amongst the Lord's elect, right? The Lord is about to start doing a lot of things for his men in these times, man. And we also know that, as the Lord has said, I read Revelation 12 and 12 earlier, but when the enemy does come in like a flood, the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, right? That's Isaiah 59 and 19. So this is what we got to have in our minds, brothers and sisters, when we're in these times, when they actually begin to happen, right? That the Lord is going to get us through them, man. Yahweh Ratazah, we be able to elect, right? But it says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And that's what we got to prepare our minds and our spirits for, brothers. That, like I said before, we don't know if our lot may consist of us being put in the guillotine. But, hey, we got to be faithful through all of that, man. Hey, the servant is not greater than his Lord. Lord Yahushua gave his life for us. Some of us going to have to give our lives for the Lord. And we know, as it tells you in the book of Psalms, there is nothing more precious in the sight of the Lord than the death of his saints. And we also know that the dead in Hamashiach, matter of fact, I'm going to get that because I paraphrased it earlier. I'm going to get it again. Right? 1 Thessalonians. This 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. It said, for the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua himself, shall descend from heaven with the shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Yahweh, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then y'all just heard that, right? That verse, Salakia, verse 16. So the dead in Hamashiach, meaning those that have given their life for the testimony of our Lord and Savior, they're going to be raised first in the chariots. They're going to be the first to put on that immortality that we're going to get for enduring unto the end, man. Right? And it says, verse 17, then we which are alive, which are those brothers and sisters of the hopeful elect that are still going to be living, right? The Lord is going to beam them up as well, because we know there's going to be believers that are ultimately going to see the kingdom of heaven return with Lord Yahushua. It tells you that in St. Matthew chapter 16, verse 28. You know, it said, there be some standing here that shall now taste of death, till they shall see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom, roughly paraphrasing. That's going to be the elect, man, that are going to be delivered from that nuclear destruction and that onslaught of the chariots that are going to be raining down fire upon America when it comes, man, right? And it says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord, man. And that's what we ultimately want to be, with the Lord forever, man. You know, reigning with the Lord in the kingdom of heaven, you know, not having to go through all of this stuff we go through day in and day out in our lives, you know, stress, afflictions, going through hell, all of those different things that we have to bear, man, right? It's going to be over, man, very soon. And that's what we always got to have in our minds, brothers and sisters. Myself first and foremost. When we do go through our afflictions, right? The Lord said that he'll never put too much on us we can't bear, man. We got to always remember that. And as the Apostle Paul said, that's Romans chapter 8, verse 18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. So we know ultimately what's coming is the kingdom is going to be way more precious than the hell that we catching on this side, man. And that's what we always got to have in our minds through whatever it is we're going through or whatever that's bound to come in the near future, man. This should be our mindset and our spirit, you know. And Yahweh the Lord keeps it on us, man, you know. So, you know, that's pretty much everything I had to say with today's lesson. Lord's willing to be edified to you, brothers and sisters that come across it. With that being said, I'm going to end this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops that rule well, that teach well, while I learn the truth 100% according to the Bible. I also want to say shalom to you, Akim, out there, teaching on the highways and hedges, making your bodies a living sacrifice as the Lord has told us, teaching the correct doctrine, shalom. And to you sisters that are sincere, that are learning in silence and doing the things in which it is that the Lord requires of you to do to the best of your abilities and your children. So the next time I'm going to say, Kwam Yasharala, shalom.